Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United, the National League, are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another podcast of the Sutton Podcast. I'm Mike and joining me today with Rory. We're going to be talking about the, there's no way to drop the away loss to Bradford City. Don't forget you can help with costs, etc. with the one-off donations by joining us on Patreon. If you want to know more, drop me a line and I'll gladly tell you how to do that. Right, we're going to get to it because we've all been rushing around and doing all the extra things tonight, so the time is of the essence. So, Dan, how are you?
I'm good.
We can see you. We can hear you.
Makes a change.
Everything's going well this week.
Yep. No technical hitches.
Yet. The night is young. So I think the last time I had you on properly was the Wimbledon match, wasn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. Well, I could actually contribute, yeah. It's been a while.
Well, and that was one that I couldn't contribute because I got kicked out of the session as well. So how have you been?
I've been good, mate. Not too bad. Just working hard and schlepping up and down the country every other week, it seems now, to far northern outposts.
Knowing what's going to happen. Still going
being abandoned in the middle of nowhere by northern trains and other great adventures. It's such is the life.
Absolutely. And talking of northerners, hello, Rory.
Hi, Mike. How are you doing? I'm not actually northerner, I should point out.
I know you're not. You're just temporary.
Exactly.
Are you going to answer for the train service up there, or are you going to swerve that?
Oh, shocking. Any kind of train service in the north. Yeah, Transpennine is a joke. That's all I get on to.
How have you been?
All good, yeah. All good, thank you, yeah. I've been to a few away games as well recently, which is nice. So all good.
Yeah, because you've got the opposite thing where Dan's going, I'm schlapping up to the other end of the country. You're like, lovely, I'll have that one, I'll have that one. So,
exactly. I was looking at who's coming down potentially from League One, so a bit of Morecambe would be nice next year.
So I think the last time you were on was way back at the end of January, when I first started doing the Ultimate Team thing that's gone swimmingly with people getting very cross about different things.
Yeah.
Now, have we both done our homework, or did you want to skip it?
I was actually, funny enough, I was looking at the team on the way home this evening on the train, and I was looking at it going, well, I can't replace him. I can't come up with a replacement for him. Oh, people shout at me if I ask for Fearing to be replaced. And it's like... It's not a bad lineup. I could throw you a couple of names, but you'll just get more abuse on social media.
I'm very scared because the name that got picked a few times was Dundo, and he was like, "Why do you hate me?" He's like, "It's not me, Dundo. I didn't do this." So we'll skip that. We'll skip that one because I haven't come up with anything either for the moment. Right, Bradford. What were your expectations ahead of the game? Rory, we'll start with you.
They weren't particularly high, if I'm honest. Not really high at all. They're doing really well. They're flying in fourth or fifth or whatever they were. I wasn't really hoping for much. Kind of hoping we might scrape a 0-0, keep the crowd quiet first half, and then maybe grab a point. But it didn't quite work out like that. So.
Sutton fans' aspiration: grab a 0-0 draw.
Pretty much.
Dan, what was your hopes? I know you mentioned your sweepstake.
I think you can say that our travelling group didn't go with particularly high hopes. It's just we've not been terrible away from home. Just we've not as much impact on the road as we have at home. It was the little no money changed hands. It was just purely a little gentleman's agreement between everybody in the pub beforehand. What time's our first shot on target coming? It was. I don't think it went any differently than a lot of people thought it might. But then there's a bit of disappointment because having not done what we thought we would, which is keep them quiet, try and upset the home crowd a bit to start with, then gave away an early goal and then got thrown that lifeline of the penalty. And I think once we missed it, I think most people had kind of gone, that's probably our chance gone.
Yeah. I mean, beforehand, last week, I felt a bit bad because I messaged Easty Saw, and being the asshole that I am, I was like, oh God, I hope the kids see you still walk around. He's like, yeah, I can, but it's really sore. Yeah, okay. The kids are getting their fun, that's right. And I realised afterwards, ooh, hang on. but a big miss, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, it's you can see our midfield really suffers when he's not there. Just that anticipation and him sitting in front of the back four just gives us so much. And the amount of ball he wins as well, just from Oppo attacks. And we just, Ali and Harry didn't do a bad job on Saturday. You know, not digging him out. We do miss him. We just really miss him.
It was similar to when Ben was out, and I've said it to bring everyone else up a little bit as well as what he. And the other missing was Will Randall. Think about that, Rory.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Will. I do like Will, but then I think NZA is always quality. Well, he has been when he's been more right back than right wing, so it didn't really offer very much, I think. I know he lost the ball a couple of times, didn't he? I think for a couple of goals.
I think the third goal was him losing the ball, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a shame. Yeah, I do think he's a quality player of a right back. So,
yeah. I just mentioned him in the chat. I had with the Leyton Orient. Unfortunately, he made a mistake in the Leyton Orient match. They scored that. It was a wonder goal, but a lot had to go wrong. But of course, sort of broke us. I mean, they had quite a few chances. Watching it back, we were riding our luck a few times. End of the day, when you're looking at that, obviously you guys were there, looking around that stadium, and hang on, this is 17 fans there.
Yeah, it was just shy of 18, I think.
Yeah, and playing in the league with a shout. I mean, all right, we knew it was a tough game, but with a shout, we could have got something from it. But it's just going against these teams, isn't it?
Totally is. Yeah, I think just when you walk in, I remember it last season as well, where we should have beaten them. Just walking in and seeing that stand opposite, it's just how we play in somewhere like this. It's unbelievable.
Because Sally did an awful, but she didn't watch an awful lot. Hughes, hang on a minute, I know him.
I've heard of him.
Why has he got anything to do with something? Why has he been mentioned? This probably the most controversial was the penalty. I know, Dan, that you were that Harry does not look pleased.
Yeah, he didn't look particularly. He wasn't raging, but you could just see that he was a bit. We'd agreed it was. We'd clearly agreed he was the penalty taker because Matt said as much afterwards. So, but he obviously decided to, as he was wearing the skipper's armband, decided, all right, Lee feels seriously confident. He's back at his old club. He wants to, he wants to have an impact on the game, understandably, and he's a forward, so he wants to score goals. That's fine. But if you're doing what Lee's done, got to make sure you stick that in the back of the net. I mean, you have to score because otherwise you look like a tit.
Like we did.
And yeah, it was just. I actually felt okay with him, but then he went to do a little run up and then stopped and went back and replaced it. And now he's missing it.
Yeah.
And then he just thumped it off the bar.
I mean, I'm wondering. I've not followed anything up. I'm way too busy. But I'm wondering if Harry wasn't making a fuss because he didn't want to be one of those things where we're on camera with two players fighting over the ball. He's just rather just go on then. I'm not getting involved in crap.
Yeah, I suppose as a skipper, you've kind of got to make a call there, haven't you? It's either do I bollock him on the pitch and that doesn't look great. It's not great optics. Or do I just, all right, look, I'll have a word with him at half time or in his ear. And if he sticks it away, points moot. Everyone's happy. We're level. Yeah. But you can guarantee Harry had a word at least half time or during or after it when he missed.
Yeah.
Because that's just Harry.
Yeah.
That's just Harry normally without being skipper. So
that would have been a very long coach journey home.
I
mean, if you're Matt and you're into your banter, you stick them two sat opposite each other or next to each other on the bus home, and let them chat it out.
No, you haven't got this track on repeat. You've actually got Harry talking.
No headphones.
Yeah. So, Rory, what were you kind of thinking at that point? Because it was always unlikely, but had that gone in, it's 1-1. Coming towards half time, would you have felt there was a chance? Could it have changed it, or would it would they have always just gone up another gear or two?
I don't know. I think it could have changed it, couldn't it? If you put that away, he did proper thump it as well, didn't he? Proper got his foot behind it. If you put that away, you go in 1-1 at half time, potentially. I know Jack made some really good saves to keep us kind of in it. Second half, they kind of kick in away from their fans, so you never know if that one goes in. But it didn't. I think, as you said on the blog, Dan, I think it was a kind of pantomime villain time, and then the crowd kind of gets on his back, and then it kind of, all goes for them. That bloody drum as well. They had a drum throughout the whole thing, which I took my kids, and they hated the drum.
Oh, good.
But
kids.
Good kids. You're raising them well, Rory.
Thank you. I'll try.
We know
But
nothing
I
else
think
about
he
them.
missed. Yeah, exactly. But that's it. It kind of backfired, didn't it? I think without that, it kind of got the crowd right behind him.
It was one of those ones that if he rattles it in, we've not really, they've had the best of the half so far. They probably should be at least 2 up. They're not. They've given away a really silly penalty, and it was a soft one. If he rattles that in, suddenly they've not been brilliant at home this year. So with 10-15 to go at half time, do they sort of start sitting on their hands a bit and start grumbling and getting on their backs a bit? And can we then grow into the game from there? But then again, because he misses it, it goes the other way. It gives them a big old lift. And they think, actually, this might be our day. And we never really recovered from it.
I don't think the ref helped, did he? I think the ref was pretty play acting from Bradford was.
I could not believe he didn't even talk to their keeper after the penalty. It was a nailed on spot kick. He took him down, but also with these new laws about denying the goal scoring opportunity, it looked like a genuine attempt for the ball. So fair play. That's a yellow card. He just pointed the spot and did nothing. It's like, well, come on, mate. I mean, some of the for what he then goes and books people like Angol for, and Omar's customary poxy yellow for sod all. Later in the game, when he's been had the shit kicked out of him again for 70 minutes. It's just, I mean, you can't blame the ref for the result, but he's another one who was subpar, shall we say.
How have we not caught on to getting at the bookies and lumping on Omar to get a yellow every week?
Yeah, good point, actually.
That might be a market for next season.
I'll tell Robbo accounts that he needs to get some Sutton money on this.
Couple of quid on it.
We'll have more than the tenner. Yeah, more than the tenner in the back. But yeah, second half it kind of ran away from us. Was it just tired legs or heads down? I mean, I know Omar scored, but he didn't celebrate, or he just kind of.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think even we realised it was going to be nothing more than a consolation. But I mean, you could tell. I know Matt obviously filled us in afterwards that he had a couple of knocks and there was a couple who probably shouldn't have played, and that Joe Kizzy was one. And you could kind of see it. Joe wasn't really on it all day. Yeah. And the second goal was he just kind of didn't get tight enough to the guy, showed him inside, and good finish. But again, just a really, really soft goal. So I think it was again just we put a side out. We had a go to the limits of what we had out there, and it just wasn't enough.
Rory?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I don't think we didn't give up. We didn't.
No.
Yeah, we kept going, didn't we? I think particularly people like Ali and Kobe and Omar kept fighting, kept battling.
I thought Kobe was excellent, actually. Probably one of his best games of the season. He was very good.
Yeah, totally took out. I couldn't quite see it. Could you see it when he took out? Did he take out the cameraman on the other side of the pitch?
I think he clattered into a cameraman when the guy shoved him off the pitch. So
that seemed to get their backside.
Yeah, just like your lad shoved it. And it was the same. Exactly. The same with Dave when he got shoved out on the other side on that, and we couldn't see, and he ended up running into the stand, and we're like, "Oh, I hope he's okay." And then you could just see at the bottom of the stand this little green shirted lad pop up and like a meerkat out of the crowd.
Yeah. They probably got brave with Kobe because they're so far away they don't actually quite realise how massive he is.
Yeah, he's a unit, that boy.
It wouldn't boo him if they could stand next to him. That's what, in the fan zone once, I was like, "Oh, can you sit down, please?" My neck is. Right, I'm glad you mentioned some players because we will draw a line under that game, and we will ask you in a couple of seconds of the day.
Now watch me do my dance. I'm the player of the day.
Okay, so Dan, who's your first choice?
Well, I've just mentioned him, so I'll go with Kobe. Actually, I thought he was very good.
Rory?
Yeah, it was a tough one. I think maybe Jack. I know we conceded 3 goals, but first half, I think the save he made was and then he saved a couple.
And he put one on tip one onto the post as well, which looked a nailed on goal from Cook. So Jack did play well despite the result.
Yeah,
From
couldn't
memory, I
blame
think it
him.
could have been 7.
Exactly.
So,
So,
Dan, who's your second choice? It's tougher and tougher.
Trying to think.
Right, let's just remind. It can be any reason you like. It could be for Dave popping up like a meerkat. It could be whatever reason you want. This is not man of the match. It's player of the day. Whatever you choose.
I'll give Omar a nod because again he got his usual rough treatment, copped his normal pointless yellow for something he's alleged to have done. I mean, sometimes he doesn't help himself a little bit, but again, Saturday was one of those ones where it's like, well, hang on, he's been kicked from pillar to post again for 75 minutes, and then he's the one makes a challenge and gets a yellow. So good goal. He kept going to the end, but he took the header well. So I'll give Omar a nod.
I mean, Friday against Stockport, we were there and he got involved with that player, and it was like, this Omar, they're going to look to book you for any reason. Why are you giving them any chance to book you? And the ref didn't book him. Hang on, the one time we're like, he probably deserves that. The ref's like, no, you can have that one. And Rory, you're second and the final choice.
Tricky. I might go Ali Smith. I think he played well. And he said hello to my son as well. So that's it.
That's fine.
Perfect. I thought he was good. He's got such a nice touch, doesn't he, Ali? I think.
Sometimes when you're watching, why are you? I don't know what his contract's like, but he's awful. If anyone listens, Ali Smith's a horrible man. So.
Yeah, exactly. Please.
Yeah, horrible fella, and so don't like. Yeah, don't like him. They disrupt the change of them. Right. So earlier on, I spoke to Julian from the Lowdown podcast, which slot. Joining me now is Julian from the Lowdown podcast. Hello, Julian. How are you?
Listen, mate, it's a pleasure to come on. We've been a year, I think, since we said we was going to speak, so we're here now. So let's do it. Let's do it.
I know. While I've got the chance, I wasn't sure I wanted a smug Leyton Orient fan on the show, but here we go. So, mention the podcast. I just always ask my away guests a little bit about yourself, why you support the team you support, and basically, it's who are you?
Well, I like that. Who are we? So, I'm Julian. I've been an Orient fan all my life, really. My children, my 2 boys, are 5th generation Orient fans. So, been in our heritage. Over the last few years, we launched a podcast. We were on Love Sport Radio, London station Sport. And then that's to an end with COVID. We're standing there holding a baby. And then we said, you know what, we're going to continue this. So we've got the podcast underway. And we're pleased to say we had our 100th episode last week. That's a milestone in its own right. With some great following. We're getting over 1,000 downloads a week now, which is really pleasing. And I just wish we could get it monetized and get some money from it. But one day that may work. So for me personally, I've loved Orient. I love the whole feel. Similar to you guys at Sutton, it's a family club. You know, you feel that you not being there has an impact on the players, has an impact on the day. So that what drives you on, you know. And I think we've seen it a lot this year, where I think talk about 12th man, but the fans this year from absolutely unbelievable, it's outstanding, and really made the difference when it's all up against it. And and as you know as well, when your successes last year and coming out of the National League as well. When you're up there, you're easier to be shot at. And you used to be the club for years. Everyone, Orient, they're a great club. Yeah. When you're top of the league, everyone hates you. So you have to do that. And I think the fans have played their part this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple of the Orient fans I've spoken to various times through the season. Earlier on in the season, there did seem to be a sense of disbelief of like, well, hold on a minute, we're not playing well. How are we at the top of the league? What are the rest of you doing? So is that still the case, or have you kind of found your rhythm, or is it still just we're not sure what's going on?
I think there's been a rhythm for most of the season. I think the disbelief was it wasn't pretty at times, you know, and we were still winning. And I think your season alone, you said you've had injuries. We've been pretty blessed until latter part of the season without having a lot of bad injuries. So we've been pretty blessed with the players that are half decent in and around the club. So, no, I think we're playing decent football. You look at our results over the weekend, you know, with Salford, a game that we all expected to be a tougher game than it was, and we go and turn them over 2-0. And I think they have scored in every game since Christmas and etc. All the other bits and bobs, and we looked very good. And come Monday, first 45 minutes, I think it's the best 45 minutes I've seen Orient play. And then we had too much celebration cake and a few glasses of bubbly at half time come out, and I don't know what we was doing. So hopefully that's not going to be the team that turns up to your ground on Saturday. I think knowing Richie Wellens and what he said and behavioural characteristics, I think it will come in a decent and try to play our game. And Richie always says the same thing: play our game. Don't worry about the opposition. They can play their game. We play our game, and then we're
perfect. So looking at the table now, is it promotion? If you got promoted but not the title, would you guys still be happy? Or would it be, at this stage of the season, with the way it is now, I think you're 8 points clear of the game in hand. Is it the title?
So, let's be all want to get promoted, right? That's yeah, absolutely. We want to get promoted at the National League, but when it got there where you're going, we're going to win this, and you throw it away, that excuse my French, has a poo in it. Like, oh my God, why we work so hard to throw it away at the last. So, the answer to your question is yes, the title. So, it's Saturday, I think the weekend was, we guarantee playoffs. I think if everything goes our way on Saturday and we win at your place, we guarantee, but more likely give us. So we have to go to. I think the old lot of managers will say, I'd rather have the points in a game in hand, but that game in hand is given us a bit of what's the word? Bit of breathing space on those around us, thinking, saying what you just said. Oh, you're 8 points clear and a game in hand. Yeah. So for those chasing us, they're going, and they've got a game in hand. Yeah. So for that note, I like to see the Orient promoted. And the reason why, if you don't know, our fall from grace under our Italian ownership a number of years ago, tumbling down from nearly getting promoted to the Championship, League One, League Two, National League, nearly falling out of the National League. Justin Edinburgh came in, kept us up, powered us through, got promoted. We lost Justin. We stumbled about for a couple of years. Richie's turned up. And Richie's another character like Justin. He's done exactly what Justin year one. He got stable, year two built on that and pushed through. So for not just for Richie Wellens, but history that's behind these recent years, with Justin Edinburgh, we hope we get promoted and go up as champion, because the younger fans can say we've seen him being champion.
And yeah, because I've mentioned to you on your, there's huge jealousy from me towards our younger fans of being able to see our promotions over the last few years. Hang on, I've waited 30 odd years for this. Why are you getting it all straight away? So for me, Orient has always been that club that's on, the sitcoms joke about on the TV, oh, I'm down the Orient and they're this, that, the other, and always kind of been looked down upon. How's that kind of with you as you're growing up being an Orient fan? Do you get excited when they're on the telly, or do you like, they're taking...
I think we as fans talk about little old Leyton Orient, right? So that gets said quite a bit. So on that note is that if we say it as fans, so why should we be a bit angry with other people saying it about us, right? Yeah. So where I think Richie has turned that around, and Justin to a degree, and said, look, we're not just little Leyton Orient, we're doing all right. And if you're looking, we're getting 8,000 people through the gates at home games, and there should be some teams in League One would really appreciate that. And that's not been there for a long while. I remember going over the Orient as a one man and a dog, in League Two, and it's all football. And you can tell by numbers. Excitement around the club now. We've got a good owners, great commercialisation, i.e. we've got good leadership, our CEO, etc., etc. We think and act as a bigger club than we do. So going back to that analogy, little old Leyton Orient, no longer. We are not a force, but we're definitely a man-sized tissue now instead of just being a little packet.
We very much play on the small pub team. Sorry, we love that. Like, yeah. Dismiss us. Go on, it's fine. So I don't know, I'm not going to judge your age at all, but I remember Orient when you had, I didn't realise how good he was at the time, Laurie playing you guys. Did you?
Laurie Cunningham.
Yeah. Did you ever see him, or was he a bit before?
Yeah, I saw Laurie. You can't see him on my wall here. I've got a picture of Laurie Cunningham on my wall here, and I can show you afterwards. I had the pleasure of speaking to his son a couple of seasons ago in an interview. Very difficult interview, only really spoke broken English, but you can tell from his son's perspective the love for his father, of course, more importantly, love of his father who played for a club like Leyton Orient. And you look at the career Laurie had since leaving Orient, went to West Brom and to Real Madrid, and sadly, where he lost his life over in Spain. But it's a great ambassador, and it's talked about. And if you've ever been to Brisbane Road, there's a statue of him in the park next to the ground. And I when I walk on my own, not with my boys, I sort of go over there and give the old touch, the old lorry. And Saturday was absolutely chucking it down. It was great to see some youngsters not just mimicking it, going over there on their ritual to the stand, get a bit of lorry luck, So no, a fabulous player. But then you look at him and you look at some of our greats over the years, similar type of flair players. More recently, you had the likes of Dean Cox, Paul Smythe is in the side now. And you sort of can start to say about George Murncor as well. The type of player, absolute all-round footballers, have got great skill, great technical ability. No, they won't go down in the same memory as Laurie did, but ultimately we have been blessed with some really good players.
I've said this before. I don't know if it's true. I can't believe it's true, but something I found out after my dad passed away was true, and it then cast doubt on all the stories that I was like, hang on, I dismissed that as a load of old rubbish. He used to play a lot of Gaelic football. He was good mates with Tony Grealish, who apparently was good mates with Laurie. And apparently the three of them used to turn out under fake names for Hendon reserves. And it's like, there was something, I was like, yeah, of course he did. And then found something in the amongst all his stuff, and I was like, oh, maybe that did happen. That's my little connection with those names.
Tony Grealish, a name we know well as well. So that's a phenomenal story if it's true. And I think most of us over our years and not at that level has turned out for a club somewhere under someone else's name. So I would imagine in those eras it would still be the same.
Yeah, well, my dad played Gaelic, and at that time you weren't allowed to play soccer and Gaelic football. It was big taboo, so you could only pick one or the other. So that was why the fake names. And he used to say those names like, no, they did. And then I found out he did definitely play with reserve. Oh, maybe the rest of it's true. Sorry, Dad. But all three of them are gone now, unfortunately, so we can never actually find out the truth of it.
Listen, it's a great thing to keep. So it's true.
Exactly, yeah. We'll say it is. So who are we looking out for on Saturday? Who's the danger man? I know I wishy-washied this question on your show, but I'm going to throw it back to you. Who?
No, listen, mate, it's a hard one. We're struggling with strikers at the moment, although Raul Sartorio, he's come from our academy, he's scored a number of goals in the recent games. We play him out wide at times. He's not a winger. He's definitely down the middle and has scored and has done very well. So ultimately, on that note, you look out for Raul Sartorio. That's definitely a player that you look out for. Paul Smythe, I mentioned earlier, has been our Irish wizard on the wing. The chance on Saturday, the first time I've heard it in a while. Paul Smythe's going to get he's going to turn you inside out and all this stuff, and he does. And then he can have a game where he's really crap. But I think generally we've got a squad of 7. What I mean by that, there's not a bad player in our squad, and you've probably had squads over years where you've looked at us playing. Okay, we don't have that. On our bench, we've got a full. So I think the players you look out for, which is a weird one, is our keeper, Lawrence Figueroa. And it'll be on our podcast later as well, so if any Sutton fans wants to have a listen to that. Lawrence Figueroa has been an absolute legend. I think a lot of our play starts from him. A lot of our security and safety, so we play as a unit, comes from the back. And I think definitely he'll be a player to look out for. Not like certain clubs' keepers who start doing games. He will turn up and do his job.
Yeah,
that's a little dig. I had to get it in. Yeah, I had to get it in.
Yeah. Jack Rose is under severe instructions. He's not to do any kind of keepy uppies at all. Don't you worry. We've had words with him. Perfect, Julian. Well, good luck for the promotion push. Obviously, outside of Saturday, where we're going to spoil the party a little bit. But good luck for the rest of the season, and we will see you soon. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you, and good luck to you guys, and more importantly, keep up the faith. You're doing a great job.
It is the Her Game 2 match, or the second Her Game 2 match of the season, and I thought so much time, and I didn't organise anything at all, so I'm going to bank on the fact that I mentioned the women's team, and it's all about the women's players and the girl players, and I mention them every single week, so I'm really hoping next time I rock up there, they're not going to start pelting balls at me from anywhere. So
you're relying on goodwill in the bank there, are you, mate?
Yeah. And Jazz, if you're listening, please don't hit. What are we thinking about the game? They're top of the league. there's a chance they could get promotion secured. I think they need quite a lot going in their way, so it might not be this week. We obviously mentioned the last time they came to us going for a title promotion. Ross, who's a lovely fella, decided he would help him out a little bit and do keepy uppies. But Rory, how do you kind of see the game going?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, to be fair, because we haven't won all Medi for a while, or 2 in the last 5 games. I quite fancy us to score. But yeah, they're obviously a pretty decent side. But I think, didn't they draw? They drew against someone at the weekend that they'd have beaten.
Harrogate?
Harrogate. Yeah, it was at Harrogate.
Yeah, 2 up against Harrogate, yeah.
They were, weren't they? So yeah, I'm not too pessimistic, I suppose. But I'd settle for a draw. I'd take a point at age. I think we're probably out of playoff contention now. So I'd like to kind of secure a bit of 10th, 9th, or you mean?
Yeah, I mean, Matt, he has to say this, but he seemed quite sort of, if we win the next 5, we've got 72 points. Like,
yeah, he did.
Have you looked at the fixture list, Matt? To see
Exactly.
Yeah.
Glass half full, that is. Yeah.
But he seems fairly, it is what it is. I've been a little bit disappointed recently, but I think that's possibly because we got so close to the playoffs and then we've dropped away again. I think if we'd been fighting for every point and we were getting into 10th, we'd all be delighted still. Yeah, but Dan, what are your thoughts again?
We've obviously we've not been brilliant at home the last couple of games. We've lost the last 2, but again, both by the odd goal. Probably Grimsby definitely deserved a bit more, but didn't get it. Stockport could have nicked something, but maybe didn't deserve to. I mean, they were a decent side. So I'm funny enough, I'm expecting much of a replay from Friday. To be honest, I'm expecting them to be, well, as I dipped in at the end of your chat with the Orient lad, he was saying that they've got a side of 7s every week, and whilst that doesn't sound spectacular, if you've got 7 out of 10s every single week, then you're going to go a long way. You know, it's a big part of, just keeping consistency. I think it'll be much like the Stockport game. Hopefully we can get a couple of bodies back, maybe get Eastie back into the middle, because that would be a big plus. I think if we start with maybe Angol and Omar up front, go a bit big and see if we can cause them problems and upset them. It's an open game. It's again another free hit because they're doing really well. Probably agree with Rory that I think a draw is most likely for us, but it'd be nice to put in a performance at home and at least make them sweat a little bit. If they're clearly going to win it, so let's make them sweat for another week. No more keepy up gifts.
Well, I didn't realise that Lee Angle played for them.
I didn't know that either. No.
Yeah, so I mentioned Lee Angle. So I think score early. You can have party time. Chuck Lee on for the last 10. He'll score a brace to prove,
especially after Monday.
Right. Okay. So, yeah. Go on. Why not?
He's not getting given any bloody penalties though. That's for dead certain.
Yeah. Do you know what? We need to look.
Harry will make sure that
that's probably the only penalty he's missed his entire career or something.
Probably. Yeah. You probably look it up.
Yeah.
Then you'd probably find out it's the first one he's ever taken or something.
Exactly. Yeah. A bit like, was it that David Batty situation with Kevin Keegan? Is he going to score?
Yeah.
Yes. He's never taken one. Right. On a sort of lighter note, you mentioned Harrogate came back from 2 goals down against Leyton Orient. 2 goals down, throwing away leads. Wimbledon are doing an absolute roaring trade in ha. I didn't realise how bad it was. It's apparently, I read one today, I think it's 74 points in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
They've thrown away from winning positions.
Yeah, someone said that, one of the lads picked up on the train back into Leeds after the game. And we're like, that can't be right, surely. Yeah. That is a ridiculous amount of points. I mean, admittedly, the way they do that stat's a bit crap, because you could lead after 5 minutes and get dominated and lose the game 3-1. It counts towards that. But, I mean, that's still a lot of points. I mean, even if you split it down the middle, that's still 30-odd points that you've binned off. I thought we were bad at the start of the season.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. I was thinking, hang on a minute, we're whinging about a few games here and there, and they all happen together, but that is horrendous. And then one of their fans was like, we're not safe from... I had a look and went, no, you're not. Because the teams below them are picking up points. I mean... I think they'll be safe just because it's one of those that you'd need about 6 teams to not lose and them to not win and things like that for it to happen. But yeah, they're not a happy bunch at the minute. We were having a bit of a Schadenfreude flick through the
the on Twitter after the game on the train back to Leeds, and it was a bit not happy campers.
Yeah.
Not happy
But
campers.
This just shows because the gentleman I just spoke to, he was like, "Oh, do you know any of the Leyton Orient players?" And please don't disoffence to Leyton Orient. I don't really watch any other teams what they're doing. It's literally I struggle to keep up with what I know are doing. But then when you things like that, Wimbledon, damn, I wish I knew that earlier in the season because when everyone was moaning about it, I would have been able to go, no, it could always be worse. It could always be worse.
You could have had an extra tab on your spreadsheet, Mike.
Exactly.
+1 or +8 or whatever it is. Yeah.
I think it has about 17 tabs at the moment. But anyway, how are we feeling for the rest of the season? They're running now. Are we going to hang on to 10th? Are we going to peter out a little bit, or are we going to have a late surge?
I mean, we've got a bit of a gap. Who's behind? Is it Swindon or just behind us or someone like that?
Swindon, who again I've been told by someone else. No, it's Tranmere 4 points behind us. Swindon are 6, but they've got a game in hand. It's Swindon, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, apparently they're a basket, and they could be in trouble next.
Yeah, they've been some weird results lately. I think we'll keep either 9th or 10th. I don't think we're going to trouble the playoffs. I just don't think we're just going to put enough. We might pick up a couple of wins between now and the end of the season, but I don't think it's going to have any real impact.
Totally agree as well. I think it depends. If we get Eastie back, probably Will back, stepping up a few goals. And like you say, if he give maybe Matt Dennis, because he looks quite good when he comes off the bench, give him a bit more of a start up front, and the lad from Farnborough as well.
Yeah, hopefully we can give him a few minutes before the end of the year because we haven't seen a minute of him yet. So, but then again, apparently Matt said when he signed, he was cropped. So
he was going to play weeks and then in the warm up.
Yeah, he was Mansfield. He was in the squad and he pulled up in the warm up. So it's a good sign.
Yeah, exactly. Bodes well, doesn't it?
We'll get this pre-season this out of the way. I mean, in all honesty, if we were told we're going to finish 10th in League One at the start of the season, probably I would have said, yeah, great, we'll have that. That gives us puts us year 3 as a League One club. I think we've all worked out it's a 5-year plan for every single promotion has been 5 years. I know, Dan, you didn't like the idea of having plans when you were on that other podcast the other week, but it's just
I just hate that poxy phrase, 5-year plan, and then usually after about 8 or 9, you're going, how's that working out for you, lads?
Yeah,
and they've either gone down 3 divisions. Or they've gone bust. It's usually the way. That's why I hate the people talking about it.
We've never published a plan. It's just historically that's what's been happening. It's 5 years. It's like, why?
We're just winging it, Mike.
Exactly. It's the best way, isn't it?
In the true Sutton United tradition, we are just winging this. It's the old thing about the duck. It looks all right from the top, but the legs are going like that underneath them.
Yeah.
Everyone's going, what's happening? Where are we?
Yeah.
How are we doing it? Oh, okay. Yeah. We're going into the Premier League now. All right, then. Let's see what we can do.
Some of us still haven't adjusted to the fact we're a Football League club, for God's sake, and we're coming towards the end of the second season.
Exactly.
Don't want too much change.
So, what are the thoughts for next season? 50 points?
Yeah, I think that's the first goal, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely.
5-year plan or whatever. 50
Should we
points.
get that tattooed? 50 points.
If nothing else, it'll drive poor old Gab Sutton mental again.
Yeah, absolutely.
He loves the 50 points.
He does.
Especially when Omar signs an extension to his contract.
Oh yeah,
he keeps flogging him everywhere, doesn't he?
I swear he must be. I swear he's his agent, or he knows his agent.
Yeah, he must be on a fair cut, I think. Yeah,
absolutely.
I reckon. Yeah, bit of playoffs next year. I reckon.
I'd
fancy it.
It's get 50 again and see where we are.
Yeah,
but it would be. I think this summer's going to be a big one because this year's recruitment didn't quite work out. I mean, Jack's the only one who's still really around. All right, Luke Gambin is, but he's played more minutes for Malta than us. So the recruitment didn't quite work this summer. The January recruitment was a bit better. If we can have that in the summer and, have guys fit and not have loads of injuries, we can at least put a decent side out sort of first 8-10 games and have a reasonable start, then there's no.
I think you're right.
Because we're solid, we know the division now. People know us. We know what's required. It's not a fantastically deep division. So if you can have a couple of little runs and just pick up points when you should do, then again we'll be comfortably top half, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it depends a bit, like say, on comes up from if you got Wrexham and Notts County or whoever have got a bit of money to spend. Yeah, you got them, and it depends who's coming down. And
well, I mean,
I really thought they'd blown it up when they were playing Notts County. I was like, if Notts County win this, Wrexham are gone. There's not a chance, but they win the other way. So Wrexham fans were like, if we lose, Notts County fans were like, if we lose to Wrexham, we can then get our heads around the playoff and we'll have both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wrexham will run through it next year. I think that they're easily a top 3 side, probably County as well. And as well, you've got to look at what's there at the moment. I mean, if people like Stockport don't do it, they'll be strong again. They're well funded. If Bradford don't, again,
Gillingham.
Yeah, Gillingham are going to be a force next year because, their turnaround since they got the change of ownership, they're going to invest again, obviously, over the summer. So they're going to be there or thereabouts. So it's definitely going to be it's going to be a bit of a bum fight at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll sneak in.
Yeah.
Seventh will do.
What are we doing here?
7th will do. Third time lucky.
How did we get here? How did we get here? Right, lovely gents. Thanks for your time. I will let you crack on with the rest of your evening.
No problem.
Get your dinners. Take care and see you on Saturday. Well, not you.
No, sorry. I'll be watching.
Up north.
Yeah.
But thanks a lot for your time, gents. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks,
Have a good one.
Bye.
See you later.
See you, Rory.
United! United! United!